Cavies, welcome back. It's Barbie with Barbie and the Caveman. Today I'm making something wonderful that you're gonna love. It is potato gnocchi. We're gonna do a really great sauce on top of it with some roasted red peppers, and it's just delicious. So come along with me. I've already started on the gnocchi. I take red potatoes and I just chop them up, put them in the pot, and let them boil for about 30 to 40 minutes until they get really nice and fork tender. Then I'm going to pour them through the colander and let them sit and cool for a little while before I mash them up and start working on the gnocchi. So in the meantime, in another pot, I'm going to start working on the red pepper sauce. Hey, now to start our roasted red pepper sauce, I am going to get some red peppers into the oven to roast, most certainly. So let me show you how to do that. The quickest and easiest way to make a roasted red pepper is, of course, to take a red pepper, you got it, and start at the top, go all the way around, and then you can kind of butterfly it open and pull the seeds out real easily. Then take it and smash it down onto the pan to get it nice and flat, and then pop it in a really hot preheated oven on broil, and make sure that your rack is right up against the burner, and it will give you a nice little blister on the skin. I just have a large saucepan and my olive oil that I love so much. Yes, yes, yes. And of course, gotta start with an onion. So I have half a chopped sweet onion. Listen to that sizzle. Salt, pepper, and you'll know I love this three pepper medley. It's really mild, and it's got a delicious flavor to it that people that don't like black pepper, my grandfather never liked black pepper, so it was one of those things that we kind of had to figure out what to do with it later in life. As the onions start to cook down, I have skinned 2 carrots. Just going to cut off the ends, them very small, so that, and when it gets to the thick part, I cut it in half, so that it gives a sweetness to the sauce, the carrots do, but of course, they're delicious, the carrots. I'm just adding that right in with the onions. Here we go, this is what we're working with so far. Notice how it's really starting to stick to the bottom of the pan and get a lot of that, the onion caramelizing in the oil. It is just smelling great already. So I'm going to turn it down to kind of medium-low heat. I'm going to cover it, kind of let it sweat. And I think that our potatoes are done boiling. So I'm going to go hop over and drain them, and I'll see you in a sec and show you what I'm doing next. So I drained the potatoes, and here they are. So I just put it back over the hot pot in a colander just to let it steam and kind of come down in temperature. Now I'm going to I'm just going to keep kind of touching it to see if it's going to be able to be handled yet. I just want it cool enough to handle, but really dry. So I need to let it sit there and just kind of dry out for a little bit to make really good gnocchi and make sure it gets really nice and smooth. That is the. So now, the next step on this really great sauce is, and here's what it looks like, is to start adding in the tomatoes. Now I use Campari tomatoes in this, these little tiny ones, they look like this, because they're delicious. They have a wonderful flavor to them that is really unique, and they just about melt into the sauce, giving a great but silky base. So I just take out the pit, chop them roughly, and throw them right in. And I use about 8 of the Camparis so that it's got a really nice flavor to it. Got all of the tomatoes cut, and I'm just going to kind of push them down in with the back of my spoon, just kind of try to push on them a little bit, just to make sure that the juices start really coming out and running. So I'm gonna turn it back up to medium heat because the coolness of the tomatoes obviously brought down the temperature. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in my spices. Of course, garlic powder. About 2 tablespoons, a lot of garlic powder. Chili powder. Just gonna do about 2 shakes of chili powder just to give it a real nice zest and flavor. Just ginger, dried ginger, about a teaspoon. And now some rubbed sage, about half a teaspoon. Ground cumin, about a teaspoon. Oregano, about a tablespoon of oregano. Depends on how much you like oregano. And then probably about a teaspoon of thyme. Great. So then as I drained the potatoes, I did reserve about a cup of the starchy water from them being cooked, and I will be able to use that in my sauce if it needs a little bit more moisture, and also as I'm making my gnocchi to make sure that it's moist enough to hold together, but the starch really helps it to be nice and silky. So here's what we're working with. Now that we have the herbs in, and it's cooking down nicely. So I'm gonna cover it again. I like to use a lid that's a little too small so that the sauce really kind of makes there in the bottom over the heat, and it just comes together so nice. All right, I'll see you in a sec. Hey guys, I just got the red peppers out of the oven. They are so great. Now they have a really nice blistered skin on them, which of course adds a lot of depth of flavor. They're nice and soft, and I'm gonna cut them right here on the pan, and then throw them down in my tomato and onion mixture. Oh, it's so good, you guys are gonna love it. So make sure you try this one. This is a great one. All right, so now it's still very hot, so I gotta be pretty careful, so I'll hurt myself. But I'm just going to cut it into chunks and throw it right down with all the other veggies. Hey guys, I'm back. Now, I have finished chopping up the roasted red peppers, and now I'm just going to turn them into the sauce. Look how nice that is starting to smell. Not starting to smell, it's continuing to smell great, but it is wonderful. See how those tomatoes are really melting into the sauce. And of course, the roasted red peppers just add another dimension of flavor. What's Tris doing? He's hunting around for something to eat. So here we go. Now I'm just going to keep it over low heat, just to kind of keep it warm and keep those flavors developing. So I'm going to taste and see what it needs. Probably a little more salt, a little more pepper, and I'm going to show you the secret ingredient, celery. Now, I already took all the little leaves off because I've got a batch of broth simmering over there. I'm going to cut off the ends. And now, as small as I can possibly cut it, I'm going to chop the celery. Now, the celery gives it an amazing fresh crunch, and it balances the warming flavors of the roasted red peppers and the carrots, and it really complements it wonderfully. Now, I am not a huge celery girl. It's not my favorite taste. It's a little too astringent for me, so I don't eat it raw or any of that kind of stuff. But there's something about warm celery with the blend of those flavors that is to die for. So here we go. And that's it, just a little bit of celery. And I'm just gonna mix it down in. And like I said, low heat, gonna cover it and just let it sit until I'm ready with the gnocchi. So I'll push it to the back, cover it again with its little lid that's too small. And moving into the gnocchi. Now, I've got a big bowl here. I've got some whole wheat flour and some spelt flour. Now, I like to use it because it just makes it a little more silky. It's just my preference. I use the whole wheat flour and really both of them because of course, the nutritive value. It really does give a lot more fiber, a lot more whole grains than just everyday white flour. Okay, so get myself a clean spatula. And then, now, a lot of people will say peel your potatoes to make your gnocchi even more creamy. I like to leave the skins on. That's why I use the red potatoes, because it really pumps up that fiber. And of course, a lot of those micronutrients are found right under the skin or in the skin. So I want to make sure that my family gets as much good stuff in their tummy as possible. Now, so how am I going to do this? Well, this is great, a hand mixer. So just going to go around and smash it. That's it. So it's kind of like making mashed potatoes, which I also use a hand mixer for. And also it really can help get the consistency even smoother than I can by hand. All right, now you don't have to worry about overworking your potatoes like you do with mashed potatoes, because we're going to add flour and a little bit of salt, and they're going to get cooked again. Now, a gnocchi truth. A lot of gnocchi, traditional or conventional gnocchi, is made with egg yolks. I do not use egg yolks because I try to keep it vegan, of course, and you don't need it. So why put something in that you really don't need? But look at the consistency of these potatoes. It's really, really smooth. Now you can still see the skins in them. Yes, they are still, of course, that red color, but they have broken down to the point where they don't really stick out or interact with anything. Now, the flour. Like I said, I'm using whole wheat flour, and I'm right at the end of my bag. So I probably have like half a cup in here of the whole wheat flour. You're gonna need about 3 cups of flour. And I used half a bag of red potatoes. So you just stir it in, and all you're doing is kind of want to get it to a soft ball stage. So add as much flour as you need to get there, because you want it to be able to roll out, because you're going to roll it out like pasta, and then cut it, and then boil it. Hey guys, I'm back, and the gnocchi is ready. So you just grab a chunk and start rolling it out like when you were a kid, making little Play-Doh snakes. Yep. So once you got it nice and rolled out, whoop, falling everywhere since I'm picking it up off the cutting board. Then you just cut it into little pieces. Now, if you want to do a fork roll on them and make them really fancy, go for it. Not my talent. So maybe next time. So then you just cut them into 1-inch pieces. I like to roll mine so they are just pillows of potatoey goodness. Now I've got a pot of water coming up to boil and lots of sea salt in there, and you just throw them in. When they start popping up to the surface, that means they're done. So scoop them on out, serve it up with that sauce, and I'll show you how it looks in a sec. All right, we're ready. I'm so excited. I'm so hungry. So as soon as they start floating up to the top of the pot, start pulling them out and layering them in your bowl. We're so close to dinner. Here we go. Now we're going to layer over this gorgeous sauce that has been just steeping in its own amazingness in the back. Give a nice heavy helping of that. Look at this. So here you go. From my family to yours, from my cave to your home. Thanks for coming by and stopping by for Barbie and the Caveman. Remember, like, share, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Enjoy!